Hey lovely people, welcome to my August TBR.
Sophie Vlogs.
This month I had big reading plans. I was planning to take part in Draconathon TBR and All the World's a Page readathon. I will link both of those down below with all the people who are hosting. These are both readathons that I took part in last year and I had a really fun time doing so. And I really like the channels of the hosts, so I was hoping to do, I had big plans. I'm now moving in August. I mentioned this in my birthday video that I was hoping to move. It is now full steam ahead. As such, I have slightly pared down my book plans because actually the month of August is going to involve a lot of packing and I won't have access to a lot of books, I don't think, because they'll be packed. So I'm not moving very far, it's just there's so many moving parts. So what I have done is I just have set myself a really small little TBR. I set myself 4 books to read. I thought I would quickly run through them and what they tie into for the different readathons. So the first book I want to get to in August is one that has been making the rounds on BookTube, and I'm so excited to finally have it in my life. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker-Chan. All I really know about this book is that it is a retelling of the rise of the founder of the Ming Dynasty. I just have been so swept up in the marketing of this book, I guess. I don't know, I just feel like I've seen so many people reading advanced readers' copies of this who have been loving it, who've been absolutely adoring it all. So I'm just very ready to get swept up into this, which is sort of like historically based, but then going off on its own steam, and I kind of enjoy things that are like that. All I really know is that it involves this girl who steals her brother's identity when he is killed, and also I think it's sapphic, because it keeps being done in like the sapphic trifecta pictures, so this is not a lot of info. However, it does tie into prompts. So, for Draconathon, it types into the Tuan prompt, which is the geographical prompt of China. And then also for All the World's Page readathon, I know that it ties into The Inevitable Cross-Dressing, read a queer book. Definitely not set in England, I promise. Read a book set in a country you don't live in. I also thought it would be a nice one for Draconathon, if only for the cover design purposes. The next book I want to read is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulle, which was one of my most anticipated books. I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered both of these books because they were 2 of my most anticipated books of the year. So I'm really looking forward to actually finally reading this one. All I really know about this is we follow Dornis, who lives on an Ojibwe reservation, and essentially there have been some deaths that may be linked to drugs. She goes undercover with the FBI to help solve these mysteries. I've heard that it is quite an intense read, so I'm kind of just like waiting for the moment I will be like in the right headspace for it, but I'm hoping that even if I'm moving and my brain is all over the place, this will just be like gripping and delightful. This ties into a bunch of All the World's a Page readathon prompts, including underrated female character outshines the main character, read a book by a BIPOC female author, you just missed the character you really needed to talk to, read a book you've been meaning to read for a while, because I've been meaning to read this since it arrived in my beautiful life and it just hasn't yet. Next up is my first actual legit dragon book. Apparently it's my only dragon book I have left because I've been reading down the shelves in anticipation of moving, but this is A Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. This is a world in which dragons like exist and they are kind of treated just as like pests and animals and that kind of thing. And we follow Lady Trent, who is really interested in them, and essentially like this is her as an older woman reflecting on her escapades as a younger woman, and I know that it is written in sort of like a Regency style, like in this style of someone who is like writing a memoir and like looking at like natural history and that kind of thing. And I love things that blend those things together, like this genre, like dragons with like Regency style things, or like more classics style of narrating things. I don't know, I just think it's really interesting. So for this one I've chosen it for Nana Boule for Draconathon, which is a dragon book with a beautiful cover, because I really like this cover, I think it's really interesting. It does also tie into for All the World's a Page readathon. Does this play need 3 parts? Read a book in a series. Even insta-love sounds beautiful when you write it, Will. Read a book with pretty writing and or a writing style you love. So I'm hoping that this sort of like style will be one of those. The final book I wanted to read is another actual dragon book, which is The Dark Archive by Genevieve Cogman. I'm going to read it on my Kindle. This is a book within the Invisible Library series. In this case, the library is like this interdimensional place where they take rare books and they bring them back to the library to like maintain stability. There are fae in this world who are creatures of chaos, and then there are dragons in this world who are creatures of order. So that's how I'm tying it into my Draconathon prompt. By the point of the Dark Archive, we're quite far into this series, so I won't really give you like the plot setup, but what I like about this series is because we have all these dimensions, these different realities, it allows each book to riff off of different genres. So we had one that was, like, the last one I read was very much riffing off of, like, James Bond villains at one point, which was really fun. But also there's one that was riffing off of, like, Prohibition era. There's one that was, like, Venice and carnivals. It kind of gives you this option to play around with, like, time and, like, oh, well, in this dimension this happened, so then we have, let's explore these topics, and I really like that. And I just find them really fun and a lot of, like, high energy, and I really enjoy that. This one ties into, it's a problem play, so your punishment is marriage. Read a book with a romance element in it, because there has been a romance element at play in some of the more recent books, and I'm assuming it's going to carry itself onwards to this one. Surprise, magic actually exists for plot convenience. There is some magic at play in this. The librarians have their own kind of magic, as do like the fae and the dragons and that kind of thing. That's everything I wanted to mention. This probably won't affect my posting schedule because I have edited some stuff. It might affect how quickly I'm able to close caption videos, just because if I don't have solid internet access, I can probably make things live, but I probably won't be able to do all my closed captioning until afterwards. I'll report back. You probably won't notice. It'll probably be fine. I'm a bit of a whirlwind at the moment. But yes, I would love to know if you're taking part in either of these readathons, any other readathons. Do you have any reading plans? Do you have any thoughts on these books? I feel like that's enough questions to throw your way. I will stop talking now. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time for something different.